Hey everybody, hope you all are doing well and welcome back to Michael's Matters. Of course, as per usual, I am Michael. Hi and hello. And today I wanted to do another video about the many myths that we all hear and some of us believe because really they do make so much sense that they must be true. But it doesn't always work out that way. So we're talking about myths about Social Security Part 2. Because if you think about it, if a program has around, let's say, I don't know, 70 million people on it, like Social Security does, with all the different iterations. So whether that's Social Security Retirement, which is the largest, Social Security Disability SSDI, Supplemental Security Income SSI, or Survival or Spousals, or really all the different versions, there are definitely going to be some myths about the program. So today we are doing more Social Security myths, part 2, that may be true, that may be half true, and maybe full-on malarkey. Now this is Michael's Matters, and before we get to it, if you like these videos, if you find them interesting, if you find them helpful, or hey, if you at least find them useful, please don't forget to like and subscribe because they really do help the channel to grow, and we are so thankful for that. But also because you can get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. All right, now, let's get down to the video. First up today is a myth that I fully believed up until I started to do some digging around, which is that members of Congress do not pay into Social Security. Now, this is one of those myths that make perfect sense because of the fact that Congress has done such a bad job of managing how the Social Security program runs that they must not be participating in Social Security. Otherwise, they would have done a better job. I mean, they're basically shooting themselves in the foot. Now, with congressional and Social Security jokes aside, the thing is that they do pay into Social Security, at least over the last 3 decades or so. The thing is with this one is that it used to be true that senators and members of Congress and the president didn't have to include their government paychecks in the Social Security Trust Fund. But that has changed with a few exceptions. Right now, at least for normal non-congressional Americans, we pay into Social Security through a payroll tax. It's taken right out of our monthly paychecks, or weekly paychecks, or biweekly paychecks when we get paid. And that is why you may notice there is a difference between how much you get paid versus how much actually ends up in your pockets. Those costs overall are 12.4% in total, but as employees, we pay half at 6.2%, and our employer pays the other half. But with regards to Congress, there are exceptions to this because there is one senator and 4 members of the House right now who have been grandfathered in, meaning that they were in Congress prior to 1984, so they operate under the old congressional Social Security rules that allows members of Congress to opt out of paying into Social Security for their congressional paychecks and can put them instead in a standalone pension plan called the Civil Service Retirement System. So is this one a myth? Well, sort of, because although anybody elected after January 1st, 1984 does have to pay into Social Security, there are less than a handful who don't. Which means, yeah, Congress does pay into Social Security, and really, they really are shooting themselves in the foot by running it the way they do. The next myth is one that is extraordinarily persistent, which is the idea that undocumented immigrants, or people, meaning someone who doesn't have lawful presence in the United States, are the ones who are draining Social Security and causing it to go broke. This one is actually pretty easy to debunk because, plain and simple, non-American workers who work in the United States with full documentation, well, they do get Social Security benefits, just like anybody else who puts in the time and puts in the money. Social Security benefits, unsurprisingly, are built around somebody's Social Security benefits. It also means that if somebody is working in a place like here in California using only an ITIN, an individual taxpayer identification number, which is a number that someone can use to ensure they pay taxes on income they earn, even if they are not entitled to Social Security number, but it does not give them access to Social Security benefits that they are paying taxes on. Now, how about somebody who works with a fake Social Security number? So the thing is that while there are a number of people who do this, there's no doubt about that, there's sort of a perverse benefit to having them pay in. That is that people who do not have Social Security numbers are not able to take out benefits. Really, I mean, if you think about it, they're kind of the ideal worker, at least with respect to Social Security checks, that is that if you have someone who pays in for the totality of their working history but can never take any out, well, then that's just a lot more money into the system. Although there is no specific number for how many undocumented workers are fraudulently paying into Social Security, in 2010, based on Social Security's actuaries themselves, they suggest that $12 billion had been paid into Social Security Trust Fund by undocumented workers who would never pull any of that money out. So there's that. Last up for this round of Social Security myths is one that could become true if some of this current legislation ever makes its way through Congress. But it is that you do not have to pay taxes on Social Security benefits. This is another one of those myths that right now is a myth, but wasn't always a myth. And by that I mean that prior to 1984, when apparently many things got changed in Social Security, somebody on Social Security was not taxed at the federal level, but under President Ronald Reagan, it's all changed. In the modern day, there is a 3-tier level that people get taxed on their Social Security benefits. First is if an individual or a couple has an income that is less than $25,000 for an individual or $34,000 for a couple, then 0% of their Social Security benefits are taxed at the federal level. I mention this specifically because there are still about a dozen states who do take out taxes for Social Security benefits at the state level. The first taxable level of income for individuals and couples is at $25,000 for individuals or $34,000 for couples and above. So if someone is above these income thresholds, then 50% of their Social Security benefits begin to get taxed. Then the last level is at $32,000 for individuals or $44,000 for couples, and so they have to be above that when they start to get taxed a little bit more. In fact, at this point, which is the highest point of taxation, individuals and couples have up to 85% of their Social Security benefits beginning to get taxed. By the way, just if you were curious, the states that do still tax Social Security benefits are Colorado, Connecticut, Kansas, Minnesota, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, New Mexico, Rhode Island, Vermont, Utah, and West Virginia. As one last note about the taxation on Social Security, those thresholds for 0% or 50% or 85% Social Security benefits to be taxed have not increased in more than a decade. They have not been adjusted to go with inflation. So while people on Social Security benefits have been getting COLA or cost of living adjustments that are taxed to inflation, which we all know has increased pretty dramatically, especially in these last couple of years to the tune of 8.7%, the income thresholds, they have stayed at those almost prehistoric levels, meaning that each year a Social Security beneficiary gets an increase, more and more people go over these thresholds and start to have hundreds, if not thousands of dollars worth of Social Security benefits taxed because of the outdated income thresholds. But yeah, so this is basically the longest possible way of saying that yes, Social Security benefits are taxed for some. All right, so overall, when we think about these myths, especially with regards to Social Security, there are so many of them. These are just the tip of the iceberg. And the most dangerous thing about all these myths is that really all these myths, there is an ounce of truth to them. Like, for example, senators not paying Social Security or not paying tax on Social Security benefits. Both of these myths would have been 100% true prior to 1984, but they're not now. The one I found most interesting from all of this is the one for undocumented immigrants, because I guess I never really thought about the actual net benefit of Social Security benefits from people who could work, who could pay in, but could never pull those benefits out. You know, I of course, those things are going to be beneficial for us, for people who are able to pull those benefits out, but it definitely doesn't seem fair for those people paying in. All right, so that's it for today's Michael's Matters, and I really hope that you found this video interesting or maybe helpful or at least useful. And if you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really does help the channel to grow, and we are so thankful for that. But also because you get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. So for Michael's Matters, I'm Michael, hoping that you take care of yourselves, take care of others, and have a happy, healthy